The mist clung to the rugged landscape like a shroud, as if it too wished to conceal what lay beyond. At the top of the hill stood Blackthorn Manor, its silhouette etched sharply against the moody sky. The manor had stood there for centuries, its stone walls weathered by time and secrets too old for even the oldest of the town's elders to recall fully. The villagers in the nearby town of Thornbrook spoke of Blackthorn Manor in hushed tones, casting furtive glances toward the winding road that led to the estate. It had been abandoned for years, yet lights were occasionally seen flickering in the windows, and strange sounds echoed from the overgrown grounds. Some said it was haunted by the spirits of its previous inhabitants. Others whispered about the last known owner, Lady Evelyn Blackthorn, who had vanished without a trace on a stormy night over 50 years ago. One autumn evening, just as the last golden rays of sunlight disappeared behind the hills, a lone figure approached the manor. Amelia Greyston, a scholar of the occult and historian by trade, had come to unravel the truth behind the tales of Blackthorn Manor. She had spent years studying the legend of Lady Evelyn, piecing together clues from obscure diaries and long-forgotten letters. According to her research, Lady Evelyn had been on the brink of discovering something ancient and dangerous, something hidden deep within the walls of her ancestral home. As Amelia crossed the threshold of the manor, the air around her grew colder, as though the very stones were exhaling a chill from their core. Dust swirled in the dim light of her lantern, casting shadows that seemed to shift and dance. The grand foyer was exactly as she had imagined it, ornate, decayed, and filled with an eerie silence. Portraits of long-dead Blackthorn ancestors gazed down upon her, their eyes following her every move. Amelia climbed the sweeping staircase to the second floor, her footsteps muffled by the threadbare carpet. She knew that the key to the mystery lay in the west wing, a section of the manor that had been sealed off after Lady Evelyn's disappearance. But the door to the west wing, a heavy oak barrier with iron reinforcements, was locked. Amelia produced a small iron key from her coat pocket, the key she had spent years searching for, and slid it into the lock. The door creaked open. Inside, the air was thick with the smell of damp and age. The furniture, covered in white sheets, looked like ghosts frozen in time. A grand piano sat in the corner of the room, its lid half open, revealing yellowed keys. On the far wall was a large tapestry, worn with age, but still vibrant enough to depict the Blackthorn family crest, an intricate design of intertwined thorns surrounding a raven, wings outstretched. Amelia approached the tapestry cautiously. Her research had hinted at a hidden passage, something Lady Evelyn had discovered just before her disappearance. She ran her fingers over the edges of the tapestry, feeling for any abnormalities, when suddenly her hand pressed against a small, invisible lever. With a low rumble, the wall behind the tapestry slid open, revealing a narrow stone staircase spiraling downward into the dark. Lantern in hand, Amelia descended. The stairs seemed to go on forever, spiraling deeper and deeper into the earth until at last she reached the bottom. The air here was dense and heavy, the kind that made breathing feel like a chore. Before her lay a vast underground chamber, its walls lined with shelves of ancient books, scrolls, and peculiar artifacts. In the center of the room stood a stone pedestal, and upon it rested an ornate box, intricately carved with symbols that Amelia recognized from her studies, sigils of protection and binding. This was it, the artifact that Lady Evelyn had been searching for. Amelia's hands trembled as she reached for the box. The air grew colder, and a low, almost inaudible whisper began to echo around the chamber. It was as though the manor itself was awakening, watching her every move. She hesitated for a moment, her instincts warning her of the dangers, but her curiosity and years of research pushed her forward. As her fingers brushed the surface of the box, a blinding light erupted from it, filling the chamber. The whispering grew louder, now a cacophony of voices, pleading, warning, commanding. The light receded as quickly as it had come, and standing before her was a figure, a tall, pale woman with raven black hair, and eyes like molten silver. "Lady Evelyn," Amelia whispered, her voice barely audible. The woman smiled, but it was a smile devoid of warmth. "You have done what I could not," Lady Evelyn said, her voice echoing unnaturally in the chamber. But you do not understand the cost. Before Amelia could respond, the ground beneath her feet began to tremble. The shelves of books rattled, and the walls seemed to pulse with a life of their own. The box in her hands grew impossibly cold, frost creeping up its sides. Lady Evelyn stepped closer, her presence overwhelming, as though she was not entirely of this world. "You've released it," Lady Evelyn whispered, her eyes gleaming. "Now, it cannot be undone." Amelia backed away, her heart pounding in her chest. "What have I done?" "The Blackthorn curse," Lady Evelyn said. "It's not just a legend. It's real, and now it has you." The chamber seemed to close in around her as the temperature plummeted. Amelia turned to run, but the stone door had sealed itself behind her. The whispers grew louder, more insistent, until they were all she could hear. As the darkness swallowed her, she realized the truth. Blackthorn Manor had never been just a house. It was a prison, not for Lady Evelyn, but for something much older, much darker. A force that had waited centuries to be freed. And now, it was awake.